Okay, we need to, is anybody in the room that doesn't have your clickers yet? We need to make sure that our folks are registered so that we can have our quorum registered to be able to start the assembly. So if you are aware of anybody who hasn't registered, doesn't have a clicker, can you please get outside as quickly as possible and make sure you've got a clicker in hand. Anybody that's hanging out in the hallway there, any staff, if you see people lounging around out there, can you please make sure that people are registered?
ناتهج ساكسitsa يحمسكين أحكو هو ليتل هو أيتهن أحكو. I want for each of you at some point of the day to take notice on the side there. There's a little story and some pictures and imagery of the Kli Kliha, and that is our song, every one of us. That song came to me in our beach in Anakla, and I knew right away that it was meant for all of us Ho'et people. That's all that the song is saying. Kli Kliha, Kli Kliha, Ho'et. It's our canoe. And in our canoe, we best move in unity. And that song belongs to each and every one of us. And in 2002, when I was a teacher in our community school, I gifted that song to all of the Ho'et people. So any one of us that are Ho'et, that is our song collectively. I wanted to start off with that because that's how we entered in this morning, with our song. And I want to keep on saying that and reiterating that we best move in unity. And that's how it is when you're paddling on the water. When you're paddling together is when you move the best. And we understand that it doesn't always happen, but that's a goal. So I just wanted to say a few brief words about our song. And we have a few other formalities that we need to take care of before our meeting begins. I'd like to call up Slitsniret. On behalf of Tayi Hatwith Tlishin, our Hoyt Hatwe, our Hakum, I want to thank you, Tlitsnidat, for getting us off on a good start with an ancient spirit chant. Thank you. At this time, I'd also like to introduce our entire team that represents our ancient spirit, Tayi Hatwith Tlishin, from the House of Upwinniset, Ya Thua Chukwa, Ya Thua Jeffrey Cook is always the one that sits right beside Tlishin. And he's taken on some responsibility here today. And this stemmed from a meeting that our Huet Hatwe had last week and the week previous before that, when we wanted to ensure and put some of our Huet stamp on some of these. So Yaslua has asked some of our young Huet men to be our Witwalk, to be our braves like we do in Potlatch, so that we can help to keep order in this house today, because it's very important, all of the business that is going to be happening. Tlawanak. Tlawanak J. Williams. Hakum Emtis. And Tlatz Meek. And just to also note, this is a good portion of our Huet Hatwe, but presently not here today is Mexis, Tom Happynook, and Andy Clappus. There's a representation of his house. Thank you, Sarah. I would now like to call upon our Witwalk. These men are going to be our braves for the day, and they're going to help us to keep this meeting in order. Do the Klitsnit. Hayuchistus.
It's all muscle, eh?
Yeah. Or go on diagonal. It might make it longer. Harry Brosalt. Charlie Clappes. I also want to point out that our Hawith that I was referring to earlier, Charlie is a Kathatik, a younger brother to Si Chachistus, Andy Clappes. Doug Johnson. Terry Wayne. He says, everybody knows my middle name. So I just want to reiterate that this was the direction and the wish of our Huet Hatweh Council as we're preparing for this assembly. And I want to take a moment and thank each and every one of these gentlemen before they begin. And it's a very important role in our traditional potlatch house. We call them Witwalk. They're warriors, our braves, the ones that help us to keep things in line. And one thing I also want to say before they get delegated to their duty with the authority and the power endorsement of the Huet Hatweh, I want to say to each and every one of our citizens and everyone in this room here that there's going to be some important business happening today. And please, if you can, turn your phones on vibrate. And if you have to answer a call, make sure it's not too disruptive. I want to think about Isak. I want to think about Uaslak, Hishukis Sawak. And I think a really good way to demonstrate Isak is with respectful listening. That if someone is talking, Even if you have a different point of view, even if you want to argue that point, you should still hear it out. My grandmother used to tell me, there's a reason you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. I had to listen to her twice as much. Another good way to demonstrate Isak, to demonstrate respect, is in all of our surroundings here, this room, the rooms that we're sleeping in, the property that we're walking on, because at the end of the day, when people, if they've left some damage or they left something that is out of line, historically our Ichim or Nananexu, our elders would say that that reflects on your ancestors and your teachers as well, that we should always be very careful, because we said this yesterday, these lands that we're walking on here today is not our own. We're in the territory of the Tishat and Hupachisit, so we should always be walking with our best foot forward. And the last thing that I want to say, because this is an important meeting and there's decisions that are being made, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to infringe on everybody's rights, but we would respectfully ask that people not be under the influence of alcohol or drugs when they're in this room today for the business that we're about to conduct. And I do understand the modern rights and that we can't infringe those upon anybody, so we're just asking respectfully that if there is somebody or there is someone that does want to do that, maybe take a break from some of the business and come back when the time is right. So we want to just help to keep order in that way, because it's something that we feel is very important to say today. And these men here are going to be stationed in different areas. They're going to be watching. And we just ask one last time again to respect anything or any direction that our Witwalk may give to any of you, because they're doing so under the authority of the Hoyet Hatwe. They've been selected by Yahuwah to do this job. They've been selected, and that's all I'd like to say for now. Tleko.
Just when we're starting our business, we're going to go next door to the kids there. We're going to explain the purpose of them, for twofold, to explain the purpose of them and introduce them to our Witwalk. So we want them to learn some of our culture also. So we're going to be absent for about 10 or 15 minutes while you carry on your business. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Before we get going, before we start the day off, we got one formality here. So we got it up here on the screen here, and we're going to do the speaker's oath of office for Angela Wesley. So we can have a moment. I'll go read it out, and you'll repeat after me. I
Angela Wesley,
do solemnly affirm
solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially exercise the powers,
that I will faithfully and impartially exercise the powers,
duties, and functions of a speaker under the Government Act.
duties, and functions of Speaker under the Government Act.
I will exercise my duties in an independent manner and will not be subject to any improper restrictions,
I will exercise my duties in an independent manner and will not subject any improper restrictions,
influences, inducements, or pressures, either direct or indirect, in any capacity from any source.
influences, inducements, or pressure, either direct or indirect, in any capacity from any source.
I will uphold the Constitution and obey Hawaiian laws.
I will uphold the Constitution and obey Hawaiian laws.
I will act in the best interest of present and future generations of Hawaiian citizens.
I will act in the best interest of present and future generations of Hawaiian citizens.
I will honor the vision, values, and sacred principles of Hawaiian.
I will honor the vision, values, and sacred principles of Hawaiian.
Ua taking care of future generations.
U'aka, taking care of future generations.
Hishuk Sawak, everything is one.
Ishuk Sawak, everything is one.
I will be a positive role model following the principles of Isak,
I will be a positive role model following the principle of Isak,
conducting myself honestly and respectfully.
conducting myself honestly and respectfully.
And if I believe in good faith that I am in breach of this oath or Hawaiian law, then I will so advise the Chief Counselor and the Ta'i Hawith.
And if I believe in good faith that I am in breach of this oath or Hawaiian law, then I will so advise the Chief Counselor and the Ta'i Hawith.
And that conducts this portion of the day.
Thank you very much, Clishan. Uklama shishikwalap histak shil ho'eat apwinasat. My name is Angela Wesley, for those of you who don't know me. The name that I've been given through a potlatch put on by my mother is Shishikwalap. My name comes from Tishat, to show the family connections that we have into that nation. I acknowledge the Tishat and the Ho'opichisitt people today who are having us here to do our business. Very excited for today, a little bit nervous. I want to thank Council Member Sheila Charles, who came in and sat down and said, "Your dress is falling off." my skirt is falling off. Turns out she wasn't talking to me, she was talking to Trevor, and she was talking about the skirt on the table, so. I've had my little freak out for the day. Thanks very much, everyone. I do want to acknowledge what happened yesterday and last night. They weren't officially part of the People's Assembly. As you know, the People's Assembly has to do with when we're voting on matters, and it needs to be very official, so it sometimes feels a little uncomfortable. I even feel a little uncomfortable just trying to make sure that we're meeting all the requirements that we have to under Hawaiian laws. So I want to start off by asking for your patience. Also want to acknowledge the number of people that are here today. We had a great turnout last year. We have an even better turnout this year, and I look forward to seeing all the rest of the people who have registered. We had 217 Hawaiian citizens register for the Assembly this year. Woo! That is a record number, and I truly hope that we'll see all of those people in this room here today. In addition, we have 107 children. So I think it was a thrill last night to have our children here. Glad to see that we've provided some child minding so that all of our citizens can have a chance to participate in our discussions today. It's very, very important. We have people that have traveled far and wide to be here today to do the important business that we have today. I do want to acknowledge our staff. We had a planning meeting the other night. All the days are all blurring now. I think there was about 30 people in the room, and every one of those people had a responsibility for something to bring this assembly together. Every one of the leadership, every one of the staff have had something to do with bringing us together here today, and I tell you, it's not an easy job. I travel and I know how hard it is to do my own travel arrangements, so doing it for 217 people and children I'm sure has its challenges. So Coralie especially in doing the travel, thank you very much. So I ask your continued patience. Things are bound to go wrong when we've got this size of an event, so be kind, be patient. If things are going wrong, we'll do our very best to make sure that things happen properly. Yeah, the format that was used yesterday, we had a chance to have a bit of an informal session. We had booths next door. All of the committees were set up there. Council wanted to give citizens a chance to visit. We're trying to learn year from year about what's working and what's not working. And every year we're finding improvements and things are getting better. So I really acknowledge all of you for showing up. Acknowledge the council for realizing that we needed that time. That's something we've missed last year, is when we all come together, we really want to visit first. So it was a really good opportunity yesterday to just have an informal chat, to learn a little bit about some of the things that are going on in the nation, and to ask your questions and to have a chance to raise some issues. Just want to point out that what happened yesterday, as with the community rounds that have been done, record is being kept of the questions that you're asking so that that information can be fed back to everyone. So your questions are very important, and council wanted a chance to be able to hear your input outside of this assembly as well. So we appreciate that. The Hawaiiat 101 was a fabulous event last night, followed by a cultural event. Hearing our songs goes straight into our souls and helps us to remember who we are, where we come from, and how good we feel when we're all together. So I just wanted to make sure that we had those opening remarks before I officially open the assembly. So we do now have a quorum. It has been confirmed to me by the law clerk. Our quorum is 102 Hawaiiat citizens, and we have 104 Hawaiiat citizens who have signed into the room. So thank you all so much for coming. Please give yourselves a hand. It's taking time out of your... We know this is taking time out of your weekends, your time with your families, although we're here to spend time with family as well. But it also shows that we're all taking responsibility for our nation in being here and doing this important business. So kudos to all of you. So glad to see so many Hawaiiats. I came down, and I think one of the first people I saw when I got off the elevator was my cousin Maggie over there. And I said, Hawaiiat is in the house. Hawaiiat is in the house. The halls are alive with the sound of Hawaiiat. It was wonderful. It was so good to see so many of friends and family just smiling and happy. Okay, with that, having been informed that we have quorum for the People's Assembly, I am officially calling the People's Assembly of 2015 to be underway. Welcome, and thank you very much once again for coming. So we'll get straight into our business. Having done our speaker's oath, we have a number of oaths that we like to reaffirm during the People's Assembly. So the first thing that we're going to do is to ask for the Hawaiiat oath to be administered here in public. That will mean that your council member, and this year it is a newly elected council, so I think it's probably an honor and a privilege for them to be doing this before the people. So I would ask that our Hawaiiat council stand. Anybody that is in the audience that is a staff member or that participates in a committee is also required to take this oath. So I would ask you also to stand and retake this oath along with your new council. And the oath is going to be administered by our ta'i. So it is up on the screen. Derek will go through it slowly so everyone can hear.
Clicko. Yeah, this is exciting. You know, I mean, this is the first time that we're all going to conduct the oath together, and I think that's pretty powerful. Given that, recognizing, you know, we've seen all these posters on the wall, and you've seen some of the presentations that we did last night, and with the 101, the Hawaii at 101, and it was mentioned, you know, look at the numbers in this room, speak a lot to where our nation is at today. And when we were looking at the Hawaii at 101, there's a point in our history where we our numbers were dwindled down to a little over 100 of us. And it's been mentioned how we are that comeback tribe, and I think it's fitting that we're in this place today, putting our ancient practices, incorporating it into our government system. Much the reason why we're sitting the way we're sitting today, because we cannot go ahead in our tribe, not forgetting what our responsibility is to our land and resources, our people, our ancestors. And so it's real fitting that we're doing this today. I'm really honored to do this on behalf of my tribe. So we'll conduct it in the way how we conducted it with Angela. I'll read it out, and then I'll just get you guys to repeat after me. Say your name after I say I. I do solemnly affirm that I will act in the best interests of present and future generations of Hawaiian citizens. I will honor the values, visions, values, and sacred principles of Hawaiian. U'othak, taking care of future generations. Hishuk Sawak, everything is one. I will be a positive role model, following the principles of ESOC, conducting myself honestly and respectfully, and I will uphold the Constitution and obey Hawaiian laws. Kleko, kleko.
Okay, so before we get into the matters of the agenda, we have a couple of more matters to take care of. The other is the citizenship oath. So there are a number of citizens who, when they reach the age of 21, need to take the citizen declaration. So we're going to ask these people to come forward. Some of you are, I've been told, are here. Some people are not, so we'll still need, this is an ongoing process. So I'm going to read this list of the people I think are here, and then I'm going to read them all. If you can make your way to the front as quickly as possible, we're all going to be taking an oath together. Linnea Bose, Daniel Renee Cook, Destiny Cox, Leanna Gurney, Dylan Terrence Hogan, Scott William Ryan McDonald, Tiana Peters. If you're in the room, can you please come forward? Others, so we've got Linnea Bose, Fabian Cloutier, Danielle Cook, Frederick Cook, Destiny Cox, Leanna Gurney, Dylan Hogan, Alicia Holland, Cheyenne Johnson, Raymond Johnson, Scott McDonald, Christopher Nukmus, Tiana Peters, Darian Sport Maxwell, Michael Williams, Ryan Williams. Okay. Linnea, thank you for coming. My niece, I told her, don't worry, you won't be the only one. Okay, there are some other people as well. We're also required, we'll get with you in a moment. We're also required to have documentation on file for all of our citizens, and there are a few citizens who are not yet on file. Excellent, thank you. Who are not yet on file. So I'm going to read your names here, and if you are in the room, can you please stand up? And if I've called your name, you need to see Kim following. See in the far corner there, Kim Chrétien. We'll provide you with the papers that you need to sign. So the two of you, once you're done, will go back there as well. So I'm going to try to do this quickly. Annie Clappus, Leslie Cook Jr., Alyssa Dennis, James Dennis, Felicia Dennis, Jennifer Fraser, Jerry Joe, Kenneth Joe Sr., Holly Johnson, Ralph Johnson, Shirley Johnson, Hilda Nookmus, Bobby Nookmus, Rick Nookmus, Roxana Nookmus, Shannon Nookmus, Terry Nookmus, Victoria Nookmus, Justin Stanley, Robin Thomas Jules, Carla Williams, and Melanie Williams. We had one taker. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to ask all of our citizens to join these people who need to take their declarations, because I promised my niece we would all join her. So I would ask Clétion if you could administer the citizenship declaration. Thank you very much to these four individuals, and I ask all of our Huu-ay-aht citizens to also please join in with the oath. Is there somebody else? Okay, so we've got Ken and Ken and Bobby are also out there. Oh. Okay, people are making their way up.
Is that everybody? Is that everybody?
We're going to ask everyone to.
It's like, oh, I can't see it now.
Okay, for all of you, the oath is up there on the screen, so you might want to have a look.
Okay, we got everyone up here? That's here, yeah? Yeah, okay, so everyone in the hall is going to join us in this too. So after I say I, just repeat your names. I do solemnly affirm that I will uphold and respect the Constitution of Huu-ay-aht laws, fulfill my personal obligations with respect to the care and guidance of Huu-ay-aht children and families, adhere to the teachings related to ESOC, that is respect, promote a healthy and vibrant community for all Huu-ay-aht citizens, and fulfill my duties and responsibilities as Huu-ay-aht citizen. That conducts that oath for you. Congratulations.
So there was for the ones that I read from the first list, Linnea, and I think there was two others that came back. If you could come up, Karen has a presentation that she wants to make The ones from the first list. I know Linnea was on it. Karen, do you have that list? Or okay. There was somebody else that came up off that list as well.